Jenny-Jaymes Gunn. I am a community advocate here in Charlotte, North Carolina for LGBT women's rights with the National Organization for Women, gun sense laws with Moms and Men Action, and anything that extends equity to all. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. This is Barb Bacon. I'm a community advocate here in South Charlotte. Generally, I drive people around and to doctor's appointments, and I'm getting ready to have my sign-up list for taking people to vote. Buttons, once again, are, I believe in healthcare for all. I've got some people that don't believe in Medicare for all. Gun violence, let's get some control of guns. And Black Lives Matter in honor of our friend Joel that passed away last year. So that's it, guys.
Hey, I'm Christian Cano. You're the co-host. My buttons are Moms and Men Action, Gunsmiths Legislation, Healthcare for All, Medicare for All, and also in my heart, Black Lives Matter on behalf of Joe Oldham, who's a guest of ours who passed away last year. That's it.
Hello, everybody. It is Turkey Week, known as Thanksgiving Week.
Gobble, gobble.
Gobble, gobble. It's also the last week in Wednesday in November.
Then we got one more.
No, we don't.
Yep. Oh, do we? Okay. Oh, okay.
We know what day it is.
No, we do. Okay, go ahead.
No, we don't. No,
Yes, we do. November 30th.
Let's see. I'm gonna end this debate. Son of a bitch. The first time.
Jenny is wrong.
The first time in 1,000 tries you're actually right. So what out of 1,000 tries?
Mark this down.
I'm gonna mark this down on my iPhone now. The Christian on one thing. He's gonna be so proud of this. He's gonna be crowing. Big old Queen Christians will be crowing about this for at least till 2023. Like he's so
know, and I'm blessed. I very rarely am I actually correct. That's why I look down 3 or 4 times to make sure, because usually I say it and then Jenny proves me wrong. So I'm like, okay.
like all the time, like 99.9%.
That's right.
But anyway, this is Coffee Pan Dulce, and we should introduce ourselves. We already introduced ourselves before this came on. Anyway, how is everybody?
Good.
Happy, as Jenny said, happy Thanksgiving week. Barb, I know you're in town, and it looks like we're all in town.
Yeah, we're all in town.
Wonderful. Excellent.
Yeah,
well, as Jenny said, welcome to Coffee and
I'm not cooking. Artist.
Neither am I. Yeah, we're doing chicken. Welcome to Coffee and Pan Dulce. I'm Christian Cano, one of your co-hosts, Jenny Gunn, Barb Bacon. We want to thank those who join us on Facebook Live, but also those who join us on YouTube, and the thousands who join us on your favorite audio podcast platform. So all the commercials are edited and dropped in. Hey, Barb, did you see your intro for your 3?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it's kind of cool. It's like dun dun dun. All right. So.
Hey, y'all! The holidays are coming up, and what better way to celebrate locally but with Manolo's Bakery's fine goods and services? They have amazing chocolate cakes, is what they're known for. Tres Leches cakes, tamales. Get your tamales orders in early, especially if you're going to order for Thanksgiving, because they sell out fast. But they have an amazing bakery and restaurant there on the east side of Charlotte, and you're missing out. Plus, you should support your Black and brown businesses and shop local and shop small to really keep the economy going. Thanks for watching, and shop with Manolo's this year.
So
he's proud of himself. Like
I
he's
am.
two big old wins already in his
Editing,
show. So he's proud of his own.
This is like my birthday show.
It's your
That's
birthday
right.
show, and then,
That's right.
and then of course he got something right finally. Like so,
It's true.
I mean, he's on a roll. You know, look at him. His head's swelling already. It's going to happen for the episode.
Well,
it's okay.
So
by the end of this show,
by the end of the show,
follow-up show, I'll burst your bubble.
That's right.
I'll keep you grounded.
Okay. Well, as Jenny said, we've already introduced ourselves. All the edits will happen at this point. So we're going to go directly into Barbara's 3 current events.
And this is Barb's current events.
All right. So the commercial went in there, by the way. So.
Okay. Okay. All right.
So three current events. You can comment on these if you'd like to in 30 seconds or left. Today's topic, by the way, I didn't even mention that. As Jenny said, thank you for joining us. Today's topic is Evangelicals' War on Holidays, ? So we'll be talking about why this time of year there's always the war on holidays. Anyway, so, but before we do that, we have 3 current events. One of them is pretty serious, but let's start off with a special prosecutor on Friday around 4 or 5 o'clock Eastern time was assigned by our Attorney General of the United States, Merrick Garland, and he assigned a special prosecutor to handle Trump. Just leave it at that.
That's a way to put it.
Yes, to handle Trump. The next one is Twitter may be dead by the end of this year. I don't know. We'll hear what you have to say. Not only did he fire 50% of his employees, but then he gave them till last Thursday at 5 p.m. to click a link to swear they wanted to work hard. And they said like 50 to 75% of the people didn't and just voluntarily left. So I don't know how, I don't mean to laugh, but interesting. And then the last current event, obviously, is on everyone's mind and hearts. The mass shooting in Colorado this Saturday night, early Sunday morning, the Club Q shooting at an LGBT club, at a gay club in Colorado Springs, I believe. So who would like to comment on any of those in 30 seconds or less, or longer if you'd like?
I guess I'll comment on the special prosecutor first. This guy has a history of taking on really large federal cases. He's been a special prosecutor before. It's not unusual when you're handling a former or sitting president. They did it with Watergate.
Yeah.
They did it with Clinton's blowjob gate. They typically, a couple reasons. One, because he's handling a lot of the different federal issues that Trump has, and Merrick Garland is still prosecuting the 800 plus terrorists that attacked the Capitol. So you know, some of it's workload, some of it's political. So you know, one of the reasons the advantage of assigning. And I'm taking this from several people that are legal scholars or have been prosecutors that I've read. What they're saying is that it's not a bad thing. Now, some of the more progressive reactionary people are not real happy about it because I think Merrick Garland's kind of ducking the issue. But honestly, I was surprised they hadn't already. I was surprised that they hadn't done a special prosecutor already. I've never seen them not, once they are getting to the prosecutorial and the actual crimes, and once you get past the, if it's impeachment or it's a House hearings like the January 6th hearings, for example, they don't normally need a special prosecutor for that because it's not a criminal trial, it's just a hearings. But now that they're getting to the phase where they've had a special investigator that's already been assigned. That a former Republican congressman from Virginia that used to work for the NSA, was a cybersecurity expert, has been on the case for quite a while, actually. And so he's the one that led to the 40 seizures of phones and subpoenas for Trump's closest inner circle. He's the one that's uncovering a lot of the stuff and actually putting a cyber map together, tracking all the outbound calls, all the emails, all the pictures, and making this. There's 3.5 million pieces of evidence going on with the January trial. It is the largest federal trial and prosecution ever in the history of the United States. And so you're not talking about, like a local shoplifter or something like that. I mean, it's not a one person case. It's even though obviously after we saw the January 6th hearings, it's very cut and dry what happened video wise and picture wise, but clearly in a court of law there's different burdens of proof and things like that, because Trump is still innocent, proven guilty, no matter how guilty he looks. And
how about Twitter?
Twitter is just like a self-sabotage. I have a different take. Twitter's not going to die. It is going to change dramatically, which you're going to expect that with new ownership. To be honest, I think Elion comes from the school of any publicity is great publicity. The Trump backfiring thing is absolutely hilarious. The fact that Trump can't come back to Twitter because of his truth.
Yeah, explain that, Jen. We talked about this before the show started. So Musk reinstated him. Okay.
So
all right.
Yep. So Elon Musk superficially reinstated him just to aggrandize himself. But truthfully, he already knew that Trump had a no compete clause. Like, it's considering the size of investment that it took to get True Social off the ground. Because it's a very data intensive, very programmer intensive deal when you build that big of a social network. So it costs a lot of money to build out True Social. And when it did, obviously you're not going to invest into somebody that is going to go onto a competing platform.
Exactly.
And talk to your following over there. Obviously they want him just to communicate on True Social, because clearly that was built for him. He is the head of that company. So he's the face of that company. And so it makes perfect business sense. And I think it's just hilarious that that Elion basically reinstated the account for absolutely no reason other than ego, which is the story of his career. The Q Club is just a tragedy. It was stoked. You can't not expect that events like that are going to happen when you've been telling the public the last 6 or 7 years that the LGBT community is the problem. You can't keep stoking that anger, including the congressperson over that area, which is Boebert. And the shooter, the terrorist, is the grandson of a January 6th supporter and a former assemblyman from California that's a family of fucking wackos. And then on top of that, he had terroristic bomb threats and was a bomb builder that got busted for it. And then the Republican prosecutor of that area just let him off. And so
I didn't know that.
When you have that much complicity, just like with Kyle Rittenhouse, and murdering people in cold blood in Wisconsin, when you worship mass shooters and mass murderers like the Republican Party does and supports terrorism against communities and makes excuses for this and makes Rittenhouse a celebrity, I have no doubt if this guy survives, because the shooter in Colorado is still in the hospital, which I'm praying for his death. I don't pray for much, but I hope he has an agonizing death. I hope he doesn't make it out of the hospital. But if he does survive, I hope he spends a lot of time behind bars like the rest of his life. And I hope that he's beaten and tortured when he's in prison, because he deserves that. He's a horrible human being. And to target people in Colorado Springs, only safe space, their only gay bar. Colorado Springs is fairly conservative. It has a Republican mayor, a Republican prosecutor, a Republican sheriff. It's one of the more conservative areas of
Colorado.
district. And it's way. I mean, like Denver's the polar opposite. It's insanely progressive. Denver's typical politics is actually more left of Charlotte's, if you can believe that. And so it's really the tale of two cities. And I have no mercy for that family. In fact, honestly, the victims' families should literally sue the Republican Party. The Republican Party pulled the trigger on this. He was just the vessel, and everybody's blood is on their hands. They're completely complicit. The MAGA Party is a complete terrorist organization. It ceased to be a political organization a long time ago, and this just reaffirms it. They're trash.
Yep.
In every sense of the word, and every member of the Republican Party that is a office holder or a party organizer is also terrorist trash, because they've organized shit like this. You can't keep saying every drag queen's a groomer, every trans person's a groomer, every gay man's a groomer, and beat that drum into the public, and then have some stupid motherfucker like this shoot up a club. They might as well have just been helping him reload. Yeah. Because they literally killed those people in that club. And so I have no mercy for them. I'm done with the Republican Party. And honestly, there's nothing good about the Republican Party anymore. It's a dead party. It doesn't want to believe in democracy. It wants to believe in coups and fucking violent attacks on the Capitol and hanging their own vice president and wacko monkey shit like this. And it's time to just say it like it is. We got to quit dancing around this bullshit. And when you're complicit to this, and you got Boebert and Boebert's pedophile husband fucking running over mailboxes and shooting their fucking guns in the deal, and they got a Christmas card with their two kids and themselves grooming the kids to be violent little bastards, you can't look away anymore. If you look away, you say, "Oh, that's just them. They're just funny." Then you're complicit too. Yeah. And I'm speaking to all the moderate Democrats that keep trying to do bipartisanship with a bunch of thugs and terrorists and Nazis. You can't come to agreements with wackos like this. There is no middle ground anymore, and it's not allowed. They're not allowing us to have a middle ground. And another side note. One Charlotte resident or former resident that just moved there about a month ago was shot in the club, but did not pass away. A friend of mine named Barrett Hudson, he was shot 7 times. Did not hit any of his major organs and did not hit his spine somehow. He had surgery yesterday and is awake and healing and in good spirits. And his dad flew out to be with him. And my healing thoughts for Barrett and all the victims and the victims' families that did survive, and of course the ones that passed away. But what a destructive, unnecessary, just insane fucking thing, And we'll talk about it more on Two Queers in a Track, but just what a wacko mentality we live in. The United States is just a dystopian shithole to allow this kind of stuff. We all allow it. We all get to the point, and I'll stop with this. At what point, how many incidents do we need like this? And how many bodies need to hit the floor, slaughtered? People like children in Uvalde, 19 little LatinX kids watch their friends getting murdered, their last few minutes on earth. Bodies disfigured so bad. They had to use DNA records and dental records and process of elimination to figure out which kids were with families, to figure out what remains was left to even bury. And then the same fucking day, a Republican senator, fucking piece of shit Cruz, they said maybe they should have locked their fucking doors.
What?
At some point in time, at some fucking point in time, how many deaths does it take? That's what I want to ask every
Mm-hmm.
Republican. How many
Mm-hmm.
deaths does it take before you stop the madness? How many families and lives need to be shattered? How much insanity of this? What's their body count? What's their over and under? What's their magical number of tragedies before they say, oh, goddamn, maybe we have a fucking problem? Where does it stop? We're willfully allowing American citizens, young adults, and children to get slaughtered by these AR-15s, get slaughtered by people getting groomed into violence. The real groomers is the fucking MAGAs. They groom these motherfuckers from a young age and say, it's okay to fucking kill. If you kill homos and people of color and black people in grocery stores, it's okay. We'll fucking make you a hero. We'll give you a scholarship to A&M that you don't qualify to. Rittenhouse is a fucking millionaire.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what.
This is got to fucking stop. We cannot have a reasonable democracy while we're sitting here dodging fucking bullets. This is not the land of the free. We are hostage to terrorism. And we have to make a choice between democracy, insanity, or fucking inanimate guns.
Yeah.
And there is no middle ground. You talk about the sanctity of life. There's no sanctity of life with the Republicans. There's the sanctity of the fucking dollar bill.
Well,
the hypocrisy of it all with them, because they pick on the Democrats and saying, oh my God, crime is out of control and whatever, but they can't sit down and come up with some reasonable solution to this AR-15 thing because of the Second Amendment. The Democrats are coming to take your guns away. When has a Democrat ever done that? Put some statistics, show us.
Well, every Democratic politician that ducks their head like a whipped puppy when the gun subject comes up in debates needs to know, well, name me the fucking bill where we suggested taking guns. Name me the fucking bill where we had confiscation.
Where's the proof?
Name me a fucking bill that said anything remotely like that. We passed the first gun sense law in 30 fucking years this year. The first one in 30 years.
Yep.
30 fucking years, over a generation ago, we passed that last law in 1994 under Bill Clinton. And it just extended to assault rifles. There was and it expired in 2004. Bush just didn't even renew it.
Yep.
And so up until this year, this is the first one. And it was really in response to Uvalde, and it was a weak sauce law. It was something. But goddamn, how many people have died?
Why is it always something is better than nothing when the bottom line is nothing changed? Absolutely nothing.
But we've had nearly 20 years of assault rifles being re-legalized, and we've had 20 years of grooming people into violence and saying violence is okay. We saw it on January 6th. We saw it at the Pulse shooting. We saw it in Buffalo, New York, when people, mostly senior citizen African Americans, were just pushing their little buggies in the store and got slaughtered for shopping for groceries while being black. We've seen it. We saw it in Vegas. We saw it in the church shooting in Texas. We saw it how many of these? We have more than one mass shooting a day in this country now. We average over a mass shooting a fucking day. There's so many mass shootings. The media can't even cover them all.
So, hey, Jen, we've gone way over. But I think what you said needed to be said. So let's take our first break, and we'll come back. And I'm going to give you a couple moments, Barb, to comment on any of the other two, or that one if you want to. And then we'll try to get into our. But that was what you said. I completely agree with you, Jen. I sense your frustration and anger. I have been that way all week since this happened. So I'm trying to put a smile on, but I'll tell you after the break. All right, so we'll be right back on Coffee Pan Dulce right after this. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for watching our Coffee Pan Dulce show every week. Don't forget you can watch us visually on our video podcast platforms on Facebook and YouTube, but you can also listen to us on your favorite audio podcast platforms like Apple, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all of the other ones that your favorite, whatever your favorite is. Once again, thank you for watching us on Coffee Pan Dulce. We'll dance out. Well, welcome back. And so, Barb, do you want to comment on any of those Barb's 3 current events, special prosecutor, Twitter dying, or even Club Q?
I'm not a Twitter person. I
Sure.
just find it humorous to get the daily update on what Elon Musk is doing. Because he loves Twitter, I don't think it's going to go away, but I don't know
maybe his personal
be when he gets done with it. So, and he's the victim of his own actions, so I have no sympathy. I'm not a Twitter person, so
sure.
Special prosecutor, yay raw. The politics out of it.
That was
Let him do his job. Let's not be Ken Starr, please.
Yeah.
And let's prosecute this guy and everybody else. And one more thing, wouldn't you have loved to know what Trump said to Ivanka when she didn't show up?
Oh.
Whether you guys have heard it or not, I've heard it from several different sources. You know, the leak
at the
of all this information.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Jared Kushner.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
And
that's the rumor. But hey, you know what? They can do rumors. We can do rumors.
Hey, makes sense. They're not involved and they don't want to be involved.
I completely agree. And to piggyback on exactly what y'all said, when I saw that on Friday, 4 or 5 o'clock is when I think he announced it. I was like, finally, kind of like Jenny said, we should have done this a while back. But I understand why he did it. He did it because, Congress is about to change, and they were already saying it was political, and they were kind of baiting him already. They were saying, well, if Garland does it, it's going to be a political this. You know what? It was like, what do you got to lose? Let's just find this prosecutor, let him worry about it, or deal with the deals. But this is the worst thing. One of the other worst things that could, besides the election, the second worst thing that could have happened to Trump. So I was like high as a kite all weekend until this Club Q shooting, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, and then the Twitter thing, we're seeing it just dissolve. But like you said, it's not going to go away. It's going to be like the personal play toy of Elon Musk.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with his personal play toy is his other businesses, the stocks are dropping like crazy. And so he has lost over $100 billion of his net worth. And he is such an arrogant prick that he won't, he acts like it doesn't bother him, but obviously it does, because you can see all the stuff that they're saying, But it is pleasantly, CBS News stopped using them for a while, for like 24 hours, because they were afraid that it was going too crazy. No advertisers, the 3 major ad agencies they have warned their clients, hey, if you do this, it may hurt your product. People may start boycotting your product. And there's TikTok, there's other places they can throw their money at. And so you see, I've never been a big Twitter person. I've been on it only because everyone else is on it. But if you're over 50, you're probably not on Twitter. You're on Facebook. If you're under 50, you're on Instagram or TikTok. The only people who are on Twitter are people who maybe are elected, or it'd really be interesting if the White House and Congress people stop using it, because they have like official government accounts.
Yeah.
If they stop doing it, and like especially Democrats, what they should do is say, I'm no longer going to release things on Twitter. I'm going to do it on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. There's so many other options. Well, so that would be the death.
I think Twitter is probably more on fire than Tesla is. And that's saying,
I get it.
They're having a little.
I just got that one.
And it's not their sales on fire; it's their cars. They just had to recall 300,000 Teslas last week.
But don't you think, Jenny? You and I have talked about this before. There comes a point when you're in the public figure, and you're whatever you are, politician, whatever you are, influencer. When you start believing your own baloney, that's when you get in trouble. And Elon actually thinks he's like a TikTok queen, that he's like this, like he's a Kardashian.
So for me, Musk his backstory is very similar to Trump's.
Yes.
And, he's a big old trust fund baby. He came into money through blood diamond mining.
San Francisco, in South Africa.
South Africa. This guy's not even an American. And everything he's ever touched has always turned the dog shit. The Tesla.
If you didn't one of his spaceships, I wouldn't.
I would.
Well, that's gonna.
I would get one of the fucking Teslas. I mean, between
I can't afford one, so
freeway, or just burst into fucking flame or whatever.
But Jenny, it was so Trump-esque when he went after the senator from Massachusetts like an arrogant person. The senator was not criticizing Musk. He was just saying, hey, someone copied my profile and this, and I'd like answers. And then like a dick, he replies back, well, maybe your account is a parody. It's like, why would you tell a senator that? But, it's like,
but this guy has the same disease that Trump has. They believe they're above everything. They believe they can do what they want. I mean, you take a very enabled, very spoiled, very idiotic human being.
Sure.
Give them a big sack of money their entire life. And people keep dumping money into truck hands and Elian's. This is what you get. This is what you get. You have a lot of unearned privilege. And you've got basically two trust fund weenies that have proven why we should cap how much money somebody can have in this country. I'm a firm believer when you hit a certain amount of money, it's got to stop because the inequity of these, basically they live like royals.
Sure. Well, considering I'll never hit that amount.
I'm not worried.
Yeah, I mean, there's almost nobody's going to get $1 billion. Somebody that makes $15 an hour, you'd have to, and if you worked a 40-hour week, you'd have to live for 75,000 years.
Yeah. So, but this is Jenny. This is another example of like Trump, Ted Cruz. DeSantis this weekend, we didn't even talk about him, but DeSantis this weekend said people will walk over broken glass for me. That's what, there's this arrogantness in him.
Yeah.
All of these people anyone who has ever said, you're not the boss of me, eventually someone comes around and says, yes, I am. And so it is pleasantly wonderful to see Musk value go down and down. And he's going to be surpassed by the French billionaire in the next year as the new richest person, because the French billionaire's value has gone up and Elon's keeps going down. And it's like his ego. He's the person of the world.
Him in a flaw. Yeah.
And I think all products have a life cycle.
Sure.
And Twitter's been not in great shape for a while.
Yeah.
And then really, honestly, Musk is like a disease or a parasite that a terminally ill patient, usually they don't really die of pneumonia, but pneumonia kind of puts them over the edge. Sometimes they refer to, especially in hospice care, as pneumonia is kind of like the mercy killing for people that are so sick, and it just kind of finishes them off. Elon Musk is kind of that for companies, and so
exactly.
Like PayPal, he helped start PayPal, and PayPal was about to go out of business until eBay bought it, because eBay is a great platform. It's just got the wrong person running it, so they bought Elon Musk and got him de-involved with it, and then PayPal shot up. Everything that he sells usually skyrockets when he divested some from Google and the Alphabet company, the parent company that owns Google, and he stopped running the day-to-day operations. Google started doing better. And
so don't you think
forced to sell Tesla and forced to sell Twitter?
But don't you think, Jenny,
it's better?
I mean, Jenny, you're more of the social media expert than I think I am, and I don't know how many you're on, Barb, but I'm not on I'm just catching up with TikTok and Instagram, and that's Instagram's been around for a while. Yeah. And so don't you think anyone who is up to date on social media, why would you ever pay to be on social media?
No.
Well, I mean, I could see why somebody would want to be in a private and exclusive social media. I can see the value in it if it had the proper content. It's just like paying for streaming TV. We used to watch CBS, ABC, and NBC for free, and then we started paying for cable. Now streaming services, the modern version of cable. I think social media, if it's done right, I would rather pay for a quality product. I just don't feel Twitter's a quality product.
Oh no. Yeah. Why would you do that?
I
mean, you can do the same thing. Yeah.
Twitter is a dog shit product, and it was a dog shit product before Elion bought it, and then Elion is basically just running it into the ground faster. He's sitting at the same place as MySpace went to, and so but somewhere Mark Zuckerberg's got to be going, thank you, Elion, you're making Instagram and Facebook actually relevant again, because people will start getting their news more from Facebook again, and obviously Instagram too, and TikTok's got to be happy, and so many there's a lot of new startups.
Isn't something going on with TikTok? Didn't a senator or a congressman try to introduce a bill to say it should not be in the United States because it's owned by China, and
Chinese
corruption and
it's
information and without their permission, and I'm like,
so the TikTok debate is, so everything you put on social media is property of the social media.
Exactly. Yes. So whether it's Facebook, whether it's regardless.
No matter what it is, because it's going onto their hard drive. It's going onto their data center. So everything you put in there. So the main hub office and where the all of our data is going is to a company in mainland China.
Right.
And so you could say it could make people vulnerable. It could be information that could make the United States less competitive. There's some arguments about, maybe the TikTok, mechanism is manipulating young people. And they could, again, a lot of this is, xenophobia and things like that. I mean, the majority of people who are on TikTok get on there and just do silly dances. More like that one person in North Carolina, she was saying crazy racist things about the Latinx community. But don't you go on and just do 10, 15, 30 seconds?
But don't you think, I mean, Jenny, I feel more in danger on my Facebook stuff, and it's an American company, and even Twitter stuff, than I would do on TikTok. And the only reason I'm saying that is because people have access to your data regardless. So you have to assume whenever you go on social media, be aware that your data is the most valuable thing to those companies is your data. So you have to know that, and you have there's certain things. I mean, Jenny and I are the people that've been trolling our last couple of shows. By the way, thank y'all. The MAGAs who've been following our last shows and so forth. They have been. One of the ladies was saying, "Oh, you didn't post your job on there." Well, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to post my job on social media because
it's none of your business anyway.
To kind of keep the task, I'll wrap the subject up. But honestly, these same arguments were said about music lyrics and Tipper Gore.
5G.
And 5G was the end of the world, and Y2K was the end of the world before that.
Marriage equality.
And people were just like cats and dogs, of course, because, gaming. And a lot of this comes from politicians trying to stay relevant and hip.
Ted Cruz.
They're really just unhip, uncool dipshits that don't know enough about the technology
Yeah.
that they're little cave people, ignoramuses like Bobbert, that start getting into medical questions, technology questions, and things way above their pay grade. That even some of this stuff is above my pay grade, but I know when to shut up about a subject and when not to. And it's the same way they made a kind of a Dungeons and Dragons movie in the 1980s. Conservative Christian parents, especially these wackadoodle moms, like they were like probably the mothers of these Mom for Liberty and are now.
Exactly.
And saying that this Dungeons and Dragons movie was going to make kids turn to witchcraft and Satanism.
Hey, remember the Teletubbies?
And and the Teletubbies in the 1990s. And everything.
The purple Teletubby.
that doesn't come from the Bible. Pretty much, some of these people just shit their britches and go nuts over. And honestly, it's just, any tool's as dangerous as you want to make it. And anytime that you allow entertainment or information come into your life, it's like the old saying in sales, it's let the buyer beware. And there's not a lot on Facebook that can harm you. And honestly,
that's my point. That I'm not afraid of TikTok.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of anything.
If I was going to be afraid of something, it'd be something I'm on all the time, and that's more Facebook. So
I mean, so there's no social media that can harm you. Yeah. Unless you are
unless you're instant messaging some pervert who lives in the basement and you're giving him your address and your social security number, and then maybe should be concerned.
But that can happen at your grocery store too. You could run into some weirdo cruising the cookie aisle. Oh yeah, goes, hey, that smells good on you.
But Jenny, don't you think? Hey, Jenny, I know we completely digress, but don't you think that's one of the reasons people like Ted Cruz and all those, MAGA people are so concerned about TikTok? It's because they're afraid the Chinese are going to steal all their gay porn off his cell phone. And so,
they got access to your browser, So
anonymous.
And naked pictures of his ugly wife, or something.
Hold on, I don't know. Okay, hey, let's take our second break. Yeah, let's take our second break here. We'll be right back on Coffee and Producing right after this.
Hey, folks, this is Jenny from Two Queers in a Truck, and I'm going to do a public service announcement basically stating that the organization that is the official organization for the Colorado shooting is called coloradogives.org. And so you can find the instructions and the way to donate, but it is the official survivor and victims fund that help to begin the healing and help carry through the expenses that comes up with a mass shooting. We appreciate your patronage and watching us every week. And if you can, please donate. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, welcome back. And I forgot to say a comment on the clip cue. My first instinct was anger. Yep. When I woke up and I read that and I saw Jenny, you had posted some of that stuff and I read your stuff. And the first thing was anger. And very similar to Jenny, I was like, well, how many times does this have to happen? And then, of course, they don't care. And of course, I was brought up in a more of a culture where you get revenge. And I thought to myself, what are we going to have to do? Go start shooting up these Baptist churches at the same time so that way they take it seriously? We have to go after Dan Bishop's family, the people who talk all this kind of crazy stuff. Does their family have to be impacted? Then I realized that's what separates us from them.
Yep.
Yeah. And we have to be creative on how we combat this, because unfortunately, there are people, like Jenny said, that are just so complacent and they see it as, I
think we have to address our own party on what we're going to stand for when it comes to guns.
Sure, exactly.
I think one of the biggest problems with this debate, it's not the American people that are against gun control.
Because the American people said 70%,
Yeah, 70%
they want
guns.
Yeah, exactly.
And everybody, even most gun owners, are in favor of common sense rules.
Exactly.
Most lawful gun owners don't care about gun control. They're not worried about it. It's just that really small percentage of friggin' terrorists
Yep.
and dipshits and the stooges for the gun companies, the gun lobby.
Yep.
And we have to address things like Fetterman did in the campaign and being proactive. The Democratic Party is going to change from a reactive party
Exactly
to a proactive party. And we're going to peel our ears back and run like the wind. And run towards the fires and say, this is where we take a stand. This is where we take a stand for democracy. Fuck this shit. This is a bunch of lies. This is killing people. This is killing kids. This is killing Americans and their safest spaces. Their places where they worship. The place where they go to gamble. The places, I was supposed to be a little funny. Like a casino shooting. Like, you can't go anywhere. You can't go to a grocery fucking store anymore. You can't go to, a LGBT inclusive space anymore. You can't go anywhere where there's not a wackadoodle with a gun and has watched, too many conspiracy theories on YouTube. And we have to say, the moment they say, well, the guns aren't the problem, I'm going, the people are the problem. I get that.
So,
but if the motherfuckers don't have a gun, the people won't be a problem. It's just like giving a 5-year-old a driver's license.
I completely agree with you, and it's so heartbreaking to see this happen because it's almost as you. I can't speak for you, Jen, but I know as a gay male, as a Latinx person, when things like this happen, whether it was Uvalde. Whether, a group that I see myself, I see people who may look like me and so forth. It's just like, it's just like it's like a stab, and you just go, gosh, I mean, how much more do we, people who are marginalized, how much more do we have to hate before people go, it's not right,
Well,
I mean, we say it's not right.
But it gets to the point where there is not a rational argument for free-for-alls when it comes to guns. And we don't do this in any other product that we sell in the United States legally stuff. We don't do it with pharmaceutical drugs. You got a prescription. You got to have somebody that writes the prescription and vets it. You just don't go to, your pharmacist and say, I'll take 50 of those opioids and 100 of the codeine ones and a couple of the flippies and floppies and for a party pack you can't do that. You can't just climb into any old Cessna plane and just say, I just want to take this for a test drive and do some donuts in the fucking air. You can't just walk onto a car dealership, hop in a fucking Ferrari and just rip down the fucking street at 150 miles per hour. Those are all products that can be dangerous, that can kill people. And we regulate them. We have common sense laws in place that says you can't just go to the pharmacy shelf and pick up opioids and other high-powered narcotic drugs like you do a stick of bubble gum. But we literally allow weapons of mass destruction for jackasses to go order this and get buy an unlimited amount of bullets and just go, it's my right. I'm going,
we need some people that become
every major high wealth country in the world does not have this fucking problem.
Right.
Except for us. We are the hillbillies of the planet. We have too much inbreeding in the Republican Party or something. Because somehow their reptilian brain can't get it across their deal. It's not just killing Democrats. It's killing Republicans. It's killing independents. The guns and mass shootings know no boundary. And nobody in any kind of right state of mind thinks that this is smart. Nobody supports it. Except for the ones getting paid to support this.
And I thought it was so typical Marjorie Taylor Trash Green to after this. She said her thoughts are with the family but she wanted to remind people that 300 people a day in America die of fentanyl poisoning that come over from the southern border, which is not true.
Yeah, no,
She had to. She can't say this is terrible. I'm sorry. She has to. She's such a dick. She has to throw that. Yeah.
The Democratic Party has to immediately address that shit.
Yeah.
They've got to stop allowing Republicans to lie about crime, and they've got to start, because literally a Republican prosecutor let this guy off.
Yeah.
Let this guy walk.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, if we're going to go into our topic on the last segment. If you like what you hear, Jenny has a show that comes on 30 minutes after this at 11:30 on Wednesdays. It's called Two Queers in a Truck, and I'm sure she has a lot of topics she's going to be talking about. I can tell just from this show that we're warming her up. So this next commercial is going to be talking about her show. We'll be right back on Coffee Pan Dulce.
Up next is Two Queers in a Truck with Jenny and Christian. And hope you guys tune in. We'll see you in about 15 to 20 minutes. Thank you.
Well, welcome back. So, hey, let's jump into our topic.
I'm like a bunch of corn trapped in a little glass jar and getting shook up. I was ready.
I understand.
I've been ready all day to exercise my demons on this show. So
that's right. Well, listen. So we don't really have to talk about the Evangelicals war on the holidays. Everyone knows around this time of year, especially, it really ramps up on Fox News and some other evangelical. It's not really a Christian thing, so I don't want to lump all Christians in. It's more of an evangelical thing that started with Jerry Falwell and his, the Junior's dad at Liberty University. He was. If you've not seen the documentary on, I believe it's Hulu, about the pool boy scandal, watch that documentary. It gives the history of Jerry Falwell, how the early days, how he basically what they did, and they still do it today. Every couple of weeks they throw some social issue out there, throwing stuff onto the wall just to see what sticks. Drag queens, gun, this, and then every once in a while something will stick. And when they find it sticks, they use it for the campaign season, and that's how they raise money as evangelicals. I've come to the conclusion from a lot of listening to, especially Jenny, that most evangelical churches are not churches; they're just political organizations under the guise of a church. And I think if you watch that, you realize that they're not even. Well, if you read that, if you see that documentary, they're not even afraid of doing that, because what they want to do is they want the Johnson Amendment to be taken to the Supreme Court to be ruled unconstitutional under the court. So they're filing all these lawsuits in Amarillo, Texas. The federal judge there has a 98% rating with them, and he actually votes for them 98% of the time. So anytime they have some issue, they file a lawsuit there, and it works its way all the way up. So with that said, the war on holidays actually started, if you're not sure with this, it actually started on the war of Halloween. That's how it originally started. It wasn't really evangelicals. It was like Christians who were upset at the message of Halloween and the devil and all this kind of stuff. And then somehow it turned into, like in the 80s and 90s, I think it was when Fox News started, I don't know exactly, but it turned into the war on Christmas. And every time around this year, Ted Cruz, a lot of these individuals bring up how these big companies like Walmart, they don't have Christmas in some of their ads. They have Happy Holidays. Best Buy, they all had Happy Holidays. I know, and Barbara, and you know, Jenny as well, I know from in our corporate world, we generally stick with holidays because holidays could cover a lot of things. I always said Christmas too as we got closer to Christmas, but we said Happy Holidays, Happy Holidays, because it could cover a lot of things. But they're upset when you don't say Christmas. So I don't understand what their war on holidays is, but that's what we want to talk about. So we only have about 10 minutes left.
So the mouth breathers at Fox News start this bullshit in the month of October. They start because they don't have any real issues to talk about. Because they
exactly
talk about what's current.
Yeah, they
right.
have to. This is just manufactured.
That's their mantra.
That it gets people in these fake moral outrages that that we talk about the holiday season, which really runs from, Halloween to almost Easter.
Yeah.
And half of them, almost all of them, have nothing to do with religion. I mean, Thanksgiving's not a religious holiday. Halloween definitely is not.
Yeah.
St. Patty's Day and friggin' not St. Patty's Day, but St. Valentine's Day Valentine's Day is not a New Year's, is not a really religious holiday. That really it's just Christmas and Easter, and truthfully, those are really more secular holidays than they are religious holidays, because most of the symbols from both of those holidays is Easter bunnies and chocolate eggs and Christmas trees, which comes from pagan rituals. Christmas is on the Roman holiday of change and winter solstice, which is the 25th. It was a pagan holiday that they just said, okay, well, we'll just move Jesus' birthday onto this because it fits our calendar. And, Jesus couldn't have been born on December 25th based on the Bible's description of his birth. And so you literally, and so for these wackadoodles to get all worked up about that we don't say Christmas, I'm like, who gives a shit? If you heard of the First Amendment, it's the one that comes before your favorite one. Companies can call it, Festivus season. They can call it, fucking Bee Gees season. They can call it whatever the hell they want. It's called freedom of speech.
So,
it's the first
here's a question.
Who cares what they're doing their advertising? They're legally allowed to advertise however they want.
Exactly. No, exactly. I mean, I had never bought or not bought something because I saw an ad and it said holiday sale or Christmas sale. I've never. I mean, so.
If I see something online that I can afford and I can buy and I want it, I don't even look at their marketing. I mean, unless I just click on their ad because I hate homos or something I'm gonna kill all the trans people. Everything that you buy goes to the death of trans people fund or something like that. I probably wouldn't shop with them anymore, but I tend to shop with women and LGBT owned businesses. I consciously buy the few consumer products I buy that are more personal items and clothing items.
So, hey, Jen, Jen, I got to stop you there because we only got 8 minutes left, and then we got to close up. So, Barb, what do you say? Do you say then Jen come back? Do you say Happy Holidays? Do you say Merry Christmas? You say both? Do you feel like there's a war on Christmas?
Depends who I'm talking to.
Sure.
But you know what? Let's go Republican for a minute. I'm going to say whatever I want to say. It's my choice. And screw you, why can't, if I want to say Merry Christmas to you and you don't like it, bite me. I can do whatever I want. I'm going to be just like the Republicans. How about that?
Yeah.
I'm so sick of this.
And so Jen,
remember, their tax deductions run out December 31st.
What is that? Trump's taxes?
That Trump gave them, they expired December.
I didn't realize that. I did not know that.
I'm already hearing about that. I'm like,
oh my goodness gracious.
About it.
Yeah. So Jen, in 30 seconds, what do you say? I assume you say Happy Holidays, or what do you say? Do you just say hello? What do you say?
Hey, I go for whatever will piss off a conservative Christian. So if I'm around a bunch of conservative Christians, which is really rare, I'm going to say Xmas. I'm going to say Festivus. I'm going to say I'm going to go, I hate Christmas. I think it's a waste of scam. I think it is one of the absolutely dumbest, most ignoramus waste of discussion points ever. That's just why Seinfeld did the Festivus episode.
Yes, exactly.
It was literally because a lot of his comedy was rooted into real life issues.
Yeah.
And And so literally they did that episode because of this crap. Is that he uses comedy to make a social commentary like this is really pretty stupid.
So I use it's funny you say that. So I think like y'all's families as well. My family always, celebrates the holidays and Christmas and stuff, but this was never an issue within our family. And I've seen it on some of my families that have become members that have become more evangelical. And I kind of kiki only because that's not how we were just like, Christmas is not really about Christmas. It's about the family getting together. It's about us. We were taught all the time by our my grandparents about it's not about getting presents. It's about being able to spend time with your family and do those kind of things, and how they have turned it in. It kind of makes me giggle. So I purposely, when I send anything to them, I put Xmas, just to kind of do those kind of things. And I'll purposely say happy holidays. But I'm always just trying to be respectful of people. So I never saw it as being woke or anything. I just saw it as being a decent person and just saying, hey, happy holidays. If they said Merry Christmas, I'll say it back. It's not been any issue. And then if someone gets upset, I'm like, well, you don't have to, if you say Christmas, it doesn't offend me, say Christmas. I'm not,
right.
I mean, if that's really more important to you than being with your family, then tell your family that, so it's kind of there was an article last year that,
I would ask this question. Do you think, because they always want to play the victim, do you think that this issue is really just about saying we're the victim, that people hate Christianity, and that because John Pavlov or Pavlitz, I can't remember how to pronounce his name, wrote an article about evangelicals and printed it today on Twitter and on social media about evangelicals running off people from the Christian church, running people off. And what they think is trying to drum up business for their church businesses is actually, the younger you are, the more off-put you are by Christianity.
Yes.
Almost 90% of Generation Z does not go to church. I know almost nobody under 30 that voluntarily steps into a church. That every church I've been to in the last few years, in the last decade, which was pretty tough because I was afraid it was going to burst into flames. And I would burn down the church on purpose. But the few churches I'm getting to, I look like a kid when I walk in here. I feel like I'm a freaking baby in here because I'm looking around. I'm going. But I think. Hey, Jen. Drawing young Americans.
Hey, Jen. I know we got to close the show, but I was going to say my commitment, and this is not a New Year's show, but my New Year's resolutions for 2023 is to do everything I can to highlight the idiocy of evangelicals. And I have evangelicals in my family, very close members of my family, and it is time, as Jenny has taught me, to just call bullshit out. Yeah. And and so 2023, I am going to spend that time. 2022 was about the MAGAs, Republicans. 2023 is about calling evangelical Christians out. The ones that are really evangelical, the ones that are telling you every day, pray for me, do this. They seem to be the people that are always the victims, never want to hold personal responsibility for the choices in their life, and they want everyone else to fix the issues that have occurred in their life, which is one of the reasons why younger people are not attracted to them
most of the time.
Exactly.
Like, well, you did it to yourself. Why do we have to do anything about it?
Yeah, exactly. And so, but my question is for Jenny, and very quickly, Jenny, do you think this is some more moderate Republicans, more fiscal conservative Republicans? Do you think maybe this is something that we could agree with, that we both don't like evangelicals because they don't like personal responsibility? Or do you think there's no way we can reach that agreement with them?
Well, I would correct you on one thing. There's no such thing as a physically responsible Republican. That's a lie. Right. So we need to quit. Well, as Democrats, we got to quit repeating that lie.
Well, maybe they're independents now. Well, maybe they've left the party and they're independents. Yeah.
Well, then they're not Republicans.
Okay, well, okay, maybe I should rephrase it. Do you think that's something that we could agree with?
Yeah. Republican.
Sure.
/MAGA QAnon Christian, with that whole stream of consciousness. Yeah, there is no common ground. But these wackos.
I'm trying to.
These wackos are trying to make the United States into the next Iran.
Okay.
And they're not going to stop until we stop.
Well, thank goodness for millennials and baby Z's, because hopefully they will save us. So with that, I hope so. Well, with that, let's end our show. We're going to go around the Brady Bunch screen, and we did not salute, so this is all late. What
I know.
are drinking today?
I tried telling
I'm sorry.
So I'll slap you the next time I see you from Manolo.
Exactly. So, Jenny, tell us we're going to be 30 seconds left, and then Barb, and we'll end the show.
I'll use my time to promote Manolo. Buy from your local Black and brown businesses, including Manolo's Bakery. Order your Christmas tamales now. Order your Christmas cakes now. You may even still be able to pick up some items for Thanksgiving that they have on their shelves. But put your Christmas orders in early, and shop local, shop small, and avoid the evil empires of Walmart, Amazon, and all the other trash companies that don't, where your money doesn't stay local. You help your community and build your tax base by spending money with local merchants.
Yep. Very good.
Barbara?
Barb?
I'm going to be in town. I'm not going anywhere, and Art's cooking. So I'm a happy woman.
You got
So I just have to show up with an appetizer.
That's phenomenal, Gil.
How nice.
Yes.
Well, I will be in town as well. And then next week late next week, I'll be heading to Georgia to help in the runoff election to make sure we get 51 instead of 50. It's going to be really special. So I'll be doing that.
About that. How's it going?
My understanding is now
from a friend that lives there that they don't even think the Republicans are going to show up. I said, I don't think that's happening.
I'm taking my sign that says don't vote for crazy.
Yep, that's a good idea.
Well, so the early voting doesn't start till Saturday, right?
That's right. Yep.
26.
Yep. And now they can vote on Saturday because they won the Democrats and Warnock sued, and they won that one. So now they can early vote on Saturday. So, all right. Well, thank you so much. Next week's show is our last show of November. Did I hear? I was right. November 30th. Our last show of November is. We will talk about, once again, the Latinx, Latino, Tejano, Chicano, Hispanic debate, part 2. We'll talk about why we use Latinx and why some people don't. And if you don't want to, don't use it. But we'll kind of talk about that next week. So we'll see you next week. Jen, you got the music?
My niece wants to understand that.
She's going to watch our show. All right. So, because we get that every week, don't we, Jen? All right. We'll see y'all next week. Bye.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving week, and if when you're seeing this show for the first time, it's going to be Thanksgiving Eve, so be safe out there. There is a lot of drivers.
That's right, yeah.
And watch the weather, and don't eat too much. Have a great week.
Bye, y'all. Thank you.
Next up, thanks for watching Coffee and Pan Dulce. Next up is Two Queers in a Truck. Stay tuned.